Hello everyone. So today I'm going to talk about postdoc positions, and I have a guest today. He has recently finished his PhD from Italy, and now he landed a postdoc position in the field of cancer in Germany, Heidelberg. So I'll talk about all the major points that a PhD candidate who is about to graduate needs to take care about in order to get a postdoc position without any big gap, and what are the major things that you should look out for. So if you liked the video today, please subscribe to the channel. That really motivates me and also helps with the YouTube algorithm. So without further ado, let's get started. So basically, this is my friend Rajesh, and we were in a bachelor's together. He was my batchmate, and then he did his master's also from the same university, Amity, in biotechnology, and then he moved to Italy for his PhD, where he did his PhD in which university?
Cagliari, University of Cagliari.
University of Cagliari, and now he has finally submitted his PhD thesis and finished his defense and viva. So now he applied for a postdoc position in all over various positions in Europe, specifically in Germany, and he recently got a position in Heidelberg in the Cancer Research Institute as a postdoc fellowship for about the duration is 3 years, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, 2 years plus you can extend. So
yeah, that's the general curriculum. So today we'll be mostly talking about what is the whole procedure and how to approach the whole postdoc application stage and how to find positions, what are the things that you should look out for, and what are the things that you should definitely avoid, which would not help you out in getting a good position. So first question is that where do students find such postdoc positions? So how did you came across this position, or how did you find this position?
So basically, in the beginning, I was searching for position in UK. So there is a job portal to be specific called jobs.ac.uk, and from there I was basically applying in all the positions that had a bioinformatician tag. So for Germany, there are other websites, for example, Zing, and I don't remember. Also, Job Archive. Yeah. So since I was not targeting for Germany, I was basically targeting for UK. So I was just randomly searching for position in job portals, as I mentioned.
Right. So in different job portals. Right, and this position that you found in one of these job portals.
Job Archive.
Yes. Right. So you did not write direct application or write emails to professors?
No.
Right.
No. I tried to write, but the response was zero. Mm-hmm. So I was basically aiming for big professors who are really leaders in their field, bioinformatics.
Right.
But I don't think they have time to reply you. So
right.
Yeah.
So basically, quantifying how many places did you apply for, and how many did you get some response from?
Okay, so basically, I applied in I think 12 to 13 places, and other than that, I also applied through LinkedIn and applied through I wrote personally to the professors as well, but the responses were zero. But the official link in the job portals, 12, and I got response from 8 of them.
Right. So when I talk about response, these were like interview calls. Something
yes,
they were interested in talking to you, further knowing you.
Right. So I submitted my CV and motivation letter, and they called me for interview. And so basically, some of them were interviews, some of them were technical tests. So they forwarded me some questions, and I had to solve them and send it back to them. And then from there, I would appear for a first stage interview, and then basically if you pass the first technical stage interview, and then move to the second stage. So,
Right. So basically they wanted to see your technical skills, and from the interview what kind of person you are, whether you would be a good fit in their lab or not. So what documents did you require for any application? So most of them you said you like from application portal. So what are the general documents that you need?
So in all of them, I would say 100% of them required CV and motivation letter. That's it. So
So they did not ask, for example, you started applying when you already finished your PhD, or were you still in the final like few months in the PhD? So what is the ideal timeline in which you should apply?
So in my experience, I would say for an international student, I think they should apply 5 to 6 months before, because I started applying from February, and I was still preparing my thesis, and I was running hit and trial on my CV, and modifying my CV and modifying my motivation letter, cover letter. So I was testing my basically my application from February. So it took time, and I think that's how you get to know how strong or how bad is your CV or motivation letter. So for international candidates, 5 to 6 months.
So you followed some kind of adaptive strategy that you sent your applications, you applied multiple places, and from what kind of feedback you got, you further modified your applications, and that really refined your applications, so to say.
Right, exactly. I mean, to be honest, in the beginning, you won't be getting any feedback, but you sort of get an idea that, okay, probably this might be wrong. I mean, you basically analyze your own CV and own cover letter, and you go through it, and then you assume that probably this might be wrong or this might be wrong. So you create several versions of your CV or motivation letter. So then you.
Right. So would you say that you need to do some kind of your own research based on the lab that you are applying, and then see what kind of work is going on in the lab, and based on that you adapt your cover letter and CV and these kind of
things? I mean, that's the main that should be your main strategy, right? Otherwise, what's the point of applying in that lab?
So most of the candidates, they make a general cover letter and general CV, and then they just send the same document to every place, and they don't get any response. That's one of the reasons.
I mean, it works if you are targeting for the, let's say, for example, I'm an NGS guy, so it works if you apply in NGS labs, right? But then again, you have to change the name and the work that they do and what you're interested in. But again, it should not be the same, 100% same in all the labs. So of course you have to modify it. But the overall, let's say, for example, what are you interested in, or how many papers have you published, or for example, what would you like to do in their lab? That remains almost more or less the same.
Right. Okay, so this is all about the document. So coming to the interview part, what was your experience in the interview? So what kind of, from the first interview to the position that you finally landed, what was the changes that you saw? What were the main points that a candidate should be prepared about before an interview?
So again, more or less, I think the interview process is also same. And in some lab, they test your overall personality, whereas in some they just they don't care. So they basically focus on the work that you do and what are you good at. But they are also looking for a person, let's say, who is good in their behavior, who is good at communication, or who is good at presenting stuff. When you join the lab, like you'll be presenting a lot of data to your lab or other people from other labs. The top questions in the interview would be, why did you apply in our lab? How did you find about our lab? And what are you interested in? And so those are basically questions related to your work. And about your personality, they would ask you, so did you have any conflict in your past lab? And if there was a conflict, how did you solve it?
Because for them also, the person or the lab professor who is going to hire you, for them you are kind of an investment. So they would basically check if you can do your job, if you're really interested in it, because research is mostly interest driven. If you don't have interest in the field, you cannot work basically.
I mean, apart from being a good researcher, I think they are also looking for a person who is good at communication, who is also good as a person,
right.
You know.
Right. And you also mentioned that first you had proper interaction with the supervisor of the lab, and once the supervisor was like finding you like a good fit for the lab, then you also had to talk to the whole lab. So what was that about?
Yes, so it could be also vice versa. It depends. For example, when I applied in Welcome Sanger Institute, there I first interacted with the bioinformaticians, and then when I passed the first technical stage interview, then I was interacting with the supervisor.
During your interview, what is the general format? So you had to give some kind of presentation of your PhD work, or what was that about? And like, what is the general format of the interview?
So I would say 90% of them asked for the presentation. So again, the presentation depends. Like, it could be a general presentation, or they could ask you to go through a project they were involved in, and you have to basically go through the project and make a presentation based on that.
So their project, not your project.
Yes, their project. Okay. Yeah, so again, as I said, there are two types. So first one is basically they ask you to go through their project and what are the outcomes of their project, or what they are involved in. And so basically they are trying to understand how much you can understand the outcome of the project they were earlier involved in, right? Mm-hmm. So the second type of presentation is basically your PhD related. So you basically present what did you do, what were you involved in, and all the skills that you are able to perform, whatever.
Right. And I think during the whole PhD duration that is designed in the European countries, student generally is accustomed to give presentations in a very systematic and very formalized way. So that's a very good thing about getting a PhD from Europe. So I think that helped you out. Yeah. Any final suggestions that you would like to give final candidates and who are doing their PhD from India and they want to come to for postdoc, because in India there are special fellowships, like there is a Ramalinga Swami fellowship, in which the requirement is that the candidate has to have at least 3 years of abroad experience. So and research is a very global field, so you have to have wide variety, diversified experience in this area. And so any final suggestions about the candidates?
So about the whole procedure, so I would say apply in positions where there is an official link. For example, let's consider University of Regensburg. So they would, if there is a position, they would advertise for it, right? University of Regensburg, they would advertise for a position that we need a postdoc. So apply only through these links. Don't apply, let's say, through LinkedIn, and because most of the position I applied through LinkedIn was zero, like the response was zero. Right? I mean, I don't know why they were first of all advertising it if they are not interested in taking people. But don't go apply through LinkedIn or any other website that is not official, right? Yes, apart from job portal, you can also apply. You can also, let's say, search for jobs through Twitter. So basically, you have to search for hashtags. For example, if you're looking for PhD or postdoc, just type hashtag postdoc, PhD, and the second word would be your field. So NGS or bioinformatician or machine learning, whatever. And just apply 5 to 6 months before you're finishing your PhD or postdoc. I mean, for any position you are applying for. If you are an international candidate, that's the main time frame that is required. So, for example, you apply, they give you a contract and you apply for visas. So all of this takes time.
Okay, so thank you very much, Rajesh, for sharing your experience, and I hope the candidates would definitely learn from it.